G'day guys, it's Paul McLean here from Audio Active, and
Scott Sauer from the Digital Picture.
we're here today to unpack the 870ES mighty Sony laser projector. Let's do it.
Let's cut it open.
Very good. Okay. And we haven't rehearsed this, so we'll give it a crack. One out.
We got product manual, unpacking, the remote's there too.
Yeah. Okay, you want a hand?
Oh, it's got some weight to it.
Whoa, it does, doesn't it? Okay. Here it is.
Alright.
Okay, so 870ES is nearly one of the top of the line projectors for residential for Sony. Let's give it a bit of an open here. Take a look. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's spin it around.
You can just pull that out there.
Here she is. What's it weigh like?
It's got some weight to it,
Doesn't it?
Oh, the lens is probably, there's a bit of substance in that lens by the looks of it.
Yes.
What have we got here? Is that like a lens cap?
That's it. Pull the lens cap off.
There we go.
Very good. And you can see
It's a
this
beautiful
is
piece of glass, that, isn't
this
it?
is certainly one that has the lens protruding a little bit more, which is exactly what you're after.
Good for using with lenses, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay. Let's look at it in a little bit more detail. All right. So we've got the projector out now. So what makes this special, Scott?
Special? The Arc F lens.
Let's have a look. And here they are. So this is the standard lens that you'll see on the 270ES, the 570ES, the 760ES. This is all filmed also, by the way, in June 2020, so things might have changed by the time you watch this video. So this one here, Scott, that's the 270, 570.
This is a fully motorised lens too.
Yes.
So it's great for calibration. Great for getting the picture perfect on screen. That's one thing we like about these. It's really, really good to work with.
Good.
Light in comparison to that though.
Okay. Let's pick it up then, shall we? So you're looking at probably about 600 grams versus something that's 4 kilos.
Oh, it's got some weight to it.
Yes.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
So many pieces of glass into this one. This is the Arc F lens, which is the all-range crisp focus lens. It's also found in the 5000 ES projector, and it what makes a stunning picture onto the screen with very, very good focus. And also, because of the optic array that's there, and you can see substantially larger piece of glass on the end, the lumen output for this projector is rated on paper at 2200 ANSI lumens.
That's right. We've actually found though in testing on site that we're getting roughly 30% more peak white brightness out of the Sonys than what that actually says on paper. So
Yep.
it's actually really, really good because it means that even the baby 270 is competing with projectors that are over 2000 ANSI lumens.
Yeah.
So
So it's a 30% difference on paper and what actually happens on your screen. So
sometimes more.
yeah, well, you can't believe everything on paper. Sometimes you've got to see it. You've got to see the difference, and you've got to calibrate it there also. Okay, so this is the optics. That's what definitely makes the 870ES something special. With this particular projector also, it's got the Z-Phospohor laser light source. This is something that Sony's produced themselves. This is a whole ecosystem of products that inside of here that Sony's completely developed, and that is the board, the X1 Ultimate processing chip, the laser light source, which is quite unique, and the optics that's there.
What's the rated hours on the laser light source?
The rated hours on this one depends on how high you run it, but you're getting about 20,000 hours on this projector.
Much better than land-based.
Yes. Sony's got these ones working in a lot of the actual universities around the country, and we've got one in Melbourne that's actually working up to 85,000 hours.
That's unreal.
It
You'd
is.
never get to that in a residential setting.
No.
Yeah.
And a 5-year warranty with laser products.
That's great. The other thing I like about this too is that you might not be able to see it from your angle there if we just turn it around just a little bit. If you just want to lift it up, Paul. Just turn it around your way. You can actually see the lens is not recessed deep into the projector, it's actually protrudes slightly at the front. This actually makes it really easy to use with anamorphic lenses. There's a couple of lenses we've been using with this projector, and we've been getting a lot of success in that the lens elements are easy to align with an anamorphic lens.
So we're using anamorphic lenses because natively these projectors are 16 by 9, but a lot of people have the wide screens like Scott's got inside of his new demonstration facility here. He's looking forward to unveiling. And so with anamorphic lenses, we're shooting over the top and bottom, and it pushes all of the pixels and pushes all of the brightness into that one piece of postage stamp image onto the screen. So you're not shooting over the top and bottom and losing light. But if you don't want to do that one, you can also use the zoom memory feature of this projector.
That's the motorized lens memory feature in the projector. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can watch both 16 by 9 content and widescreen content by just hitting a button to recall the memory.
The good thing about that is that if you do decide to go down that path and use the lens memory feature, the motorized lens memory feature, you can actually calibrate the projector appropriately for both positions, and you can quickly recall that from your remote control or home automation solution.
Yep, makes it easy.
Yeah, makes it easy.
Well, what you've got down there, Scott, looks like you got a nice 4K chip.
This is the Sony 4K chip. That's obviously the connection ribbon that runs into it, but what can you tell me about this?
So this is quite a unique technology with Sony. This is a 0.74 chip, which is designed for 4K. So in that small amount of space that you can see there's 8.8 million individual pixels on here. And Sony also used 3 of these inside of each projector. And that's one for red, green and blue.
It's using like a prism-based system to break the light up between each chip, isn't
That's
it?
right. And
Yeah.
we'll might roll a little video that shows them a little bit more detail about that.
The other thing that's really good about these is you have the ability in the setup menu to actually align the 3 chips with each other.
That's right.
There's some really good tools which Paul might be able to show in the video. It
Yep,
allows
so-
you to actually get a really crisp, sharp image. Couple that with the Arc-F lens, and you're actually getting a fantastic result on screen.
So here's probably question time for Scott. So you've been dealing now with Sony for probably 10 years now.
That's right.
So what, with the digital picture in your business, why would you choose Sony, and what is your experiences with Sony over the years?
The number one thing for us that I found over the years compared to all the other manufacturers we've dealt with is product reliability and the support from Sony. So we can't ever say that any product is going to have no issues or be free of issues, and that's the same across every brand and manufacturer. But the one thing we found with these guys is the support from Sony and from Audio Active is really good. But plus we get a very, very, very low failure rate with these projectors, and that's been all the way back into the early parts of the early 300 series we were doing, and into these models. They've been really, really good and quick and welcoming to come up with a.
So it's great for your customers.
Yeah,
you know that
customers,
it's reliable.
Yeah. The other thing we're finding too is the quality of the lenses, especially in these upper models, especially like the 870 here. Just the edge-to-edge sharpness in the lenses is really good. The lens, the way that they've been designed, they have very, very low aberrations, which basically you can sometimes see it on some of the other single chip projectors where they get a color cast on the edge of the images. You might have, say for example, a drop off in brightness from white straight to black, and you'll get like a purple line.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like a chromatic aberration, and that's caused by the lens. It's not caused by the chip. There's no amount of alignment you can do in the 3 chips that can fix that.
And I know Scott knows a lot about optics and cameras, and I might even show these are some of the images that Scott's taken from his own hobby of cameras.
The other thing that I find with this too is the lenses have very low astigmatism. I, like you, have glasses,
got glasses.
And one of the main things I suffer from in real world life is that I have astigmatism, which basically gives me a shadowing effect where I get a drop shadow on everything I look at, particularly text. And that same thing can apply with projection lenses, in that if the astigmatism is higher than normal, you'll actually get a doubling of some pictures. You'll actually, and it just basically affects the perceivable sharpness of the image. So if you get a lens like this and a projector of this caliber, you don't get any of that as well. The other thing, which I need to bring up, is really good lens shift, and it's all done from electronically from the remote.
Yep. So installers absolutely love this one. You don't have to get up there with an Allen key or something like that. It's all motorized straight off the remote control.
All we have to do once we set the projector up, like we've got a hush box there, we set the projector up, we line it up with the center of the screen, make sure it's pointing in the right direction, and then all of the calibration of the projector is done from the screen. There's other brands we use with projectors that have manual lenses. I find that to be a bit of a problem because my sight over 6 meters, 7 meters isn't that great.
And you're not going to get the focus quite as good.
And you're always racking the focus trying to get it right, whereas these you just walk down the front of the room, point the remote back at the projector.
You're right there looking at it and you can get the focus.
It's perfect. And that's really good for the chip convergence as well, so you can sit up the front of the screen and control chip convergence from here.
That's it.
We've talked about brightness. So I find actually one of my colleagues who's an ISF calibrator, we got together on site one day and we
done a shootout.
Got all the gear out, did a bit of a shootout with some of the projectors. We actually found that even the Baby 270, we were getting 30 to 40% brighter output from that than what it said on paper when we compared it to
versus the other competition.
When we compared it to other projectors that actually were brighter on paper. And that's been really good for us because...
And we're finding that Sony tend to be a little bit more conservative with the actual, what they're putting on paper. So when you're looking at an inflated number, you probably want to put these side by side.
Yeah. And the best part about that is that with HDR, what are we pushing for? Brightness.
Yep.
We need brightness because with HDR, we've got these deeper blacks and these brighter whites and highlights. So having that bit of extra brightness is good. The other thing that's really good with the chips is the black levels. Because of the way the Sony chips work and the way that the light source works, you get real inky blacks. And that actually helps if you're doing a larger screen and say, for example, your brightness isn't quite as bright as you would want it to be. It's not hitting that peak brightness that you might want, maybe somewhere between 70 to 100 nits or more than 100 nits. If you're pushing something lower, maybe 50 nits or around that sort of 14 to 16 foot lamberts, the Sony still look really good because the black levels are black. So if the black levels on the Sony are blacker than the other projectors, if your projector peak brightness isn't as bright, the perceivable picture quality is still there because the dynamic range is still there.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the other things with the laser, there's the Z-Phospohor engine, the light engine that's inside this projector, is you're having like a TV-like experience because you turn it on and it comes straight on. Whereas typical lamps, they sort of wind themselves and come on. Yep. This one's instantly on. There's some other technologies that Sony have got in here that are quite unique, and that is doing contrast. There's two particular things inside here that are unique with this projector, and that is with laser light source, they can instantly throttle intense and dim.
Right.
And then there's also, like we have in our eyes, an iris that can open and close, and now they work, they did work independently, but now they work together, so that you've got a far more superior control of contrast.
Yeah. The other thing that's really nice that I like on these from a calibration standpoint is that we're always wanting to give our clients an easy to use experience with as less button presses as possible. So with these, they actually have the ability to sense the HDR flag coming from the content, and the projector will switch over to its HDR mode, which that's great because then we can calibrate whether we're doing SDR content in a lower color space or HDR content in a broader color space. It allows us to give a nice easy transition for the client, so we don't have to press a button, you don't have to remember to press a button, your wife and kids don't have to remember to press a button to change between modes.
Exactly. Nice and easy.
All that tone mapping is done for you because no projector is in a reasonable price point is reaching Rec 2020. There's only a couple out there that possibly even could come close, and that having a projector that's got good tone mapping allows us to get all that broad colour spectrum that's built into our latest 4K discs
content
and actually be able to play it on screen properly.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Righto, well that's nearly a wrap now, but I might give Scott the opportunity for a bit of a plug his business here. So tell us a little bit about your business. You're a CEDIA, a member,
we are.
an award winner, and hopefully we can get a chance to put up some of the award-winning
we can
photos up now.
Yeah, but we've been around for 15 years on the Gold Coast, mainly focusing on home cinema and home automation.
Yeah.
We're pretty much doing work from Sunshine Coast down to Byron Bay. Most of our work's Gold Coast, Brisbane based. I'm really particular about how I like to do stuff. I don't like to have compromises in my projects, so I'm always striving to do the best work we can do. And I'm sure you'll put some photos up there that shows what we do.
Yep,
it's a passion for me. We've got the new showroom here, which is moments away from opening, and we're looking forward to firing up this bad boy.
And we thank Scott for his support with Sony. Obviously, it's a big part of his business for all visual displays. He's also doing the Sony Pro Bravia line of TVs. He even just told me he's got himself a little cheeky OLED display for his home too.
Yep,
so
the OLED out there in the showroom too.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks very much, guys, and
thank
we'll
you.
see you next time.